Hey guys, Brent Hull, happy Wednesday. Got a fun video today. We got a commercial project this time, a restaurant in Denver, breakfast restaurant that wanted to introduce some design attributes. And so it's really a fun project, really nice people. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, so this is a consulting job for a restaurant, which is a commercial space, but they had seen the classical things that we've done or I've done on this channel and wanted to see what could happen with their restaurant space. So it's a very commercial space. And so one of the challenges is that if you look at it, kind of long ways down the side, on the right side, you see all these windows. On the left side, it's much lower. And you've got all this commercial ductwork inside, so it's kind of hard. At the same time, I was really inspired by a square pier that I've got in my office, which means a column with the full entablature over top of it. And it shows the architrave, frieze, and cornice, but it's a modulated cornice, and so you'll see the modules over top, and it's really rich the way it's built out. And so what happened was too, is as I began to look at this kind of just the whole height of this space, right? Just looked at this whole thing. The proportions aren't terrible. If I have that black line and being my column runs up and supports there, really my full entablature can be inside of this dimension there. So, there's a 1:5 relationship between this and the column. So that 1:5 is kind of a good proportion between the entablature and the length of the column. So it actually, I was like, this actually kind of looks like it could work. And so if I do that, if I frame these windows and on each corner I do this pilaster, right, that goes on here, it actually frames out this opening, and that 3-part framed out opening is actually really nice. And so I think it'd be really interesting to have, your architrave, your frieze with triglyph, and then your cornice above wrap around. And even if the cornice wraps all the way around and stops, and the architrave and frieze are just implied in this area, I think it works, and I think that it actually starts, pulling this thing together. You can see it here that on this kind of little break between the different things, I put the pilasters on the corners, and then I've got this entablature that wraps around, and it's going to cut in and cut around the ductwork and things like that. On this side, we don't have quite that same height, but we do by putting a column in here and doing an arch, right? We begin to create some scale and some proportion. You'll notice, I don't know if you can see it, but the previous contractor had put in the chair rail up here about this height. It was right around 36, maybe a little higher. You see that I've dropped my chair rail wainscot down at least 6 or 8 inches. So I'm down in around the 30 range. And so I've got a little small base that ties in with the plinth. I've got my panels laid out. Now they had just done kind of 3 big panels. I did 2, and then a big center panel, and then 2 again, which again focuses your eye and kind of frames that space. And this kind of detailing can be carried around to a number of different areas in the restaurant. But here you see kind of the bigger challenge is that on this side, there's my height all the way up here would be my entablature, and on this side, because of this ducting and everything else. And so there's going to have to be some compromises that take place just because it's a commercial space and you've got this crazy duct, a crazy roof system. So I'm going to go visit there probably late summer, early fall, and actually stand in the space and kind of help figure it out. But it's clear to me that introducing this classical system does help the space, does help you begin to look at it and begin to pull it together and see how it makes sense. They were going to put a big banquette in the back with some deals, but this paneling on this side that runs around and then can run on the back, I think works. We maybe do something above here, but certainly framing out this opening with this kind of segmented arch, elliptical arch, I think helps. And then, going back to the front, you can even, do a wainscot in here that can be carried throughout the restaurant. And what that really does is it begins to unify the space. By implying these kind of proportions into this space, you can, take this same chair rail and move it around the restaurant and it begins to tie things together. Like if we did it over here and then going back down this way, if we did it, you know, here it's back at this size, but the unifying dimension is this chair rail that can tie all the way up into the front, goes all the way up to these windows. I've got now a unifying line that helps pull the whole restaurant together, and I think really works. So kind of a fun, different space, but by introducing these pilasters, by implying a chair rail, and where I'm able to introduce the entablature above, it can be a really funky, cool space that I think works and will make it feel more inviting. Now, there's still some challenges to doing this job as far as maybe trying to make better use of this space. This is a cool restaurant. I can't wait to go have their breakfast. It's called One Fold in Denver. It should be a fun space to work on and try to figure out. And they really love the classical things like me, and so this is a fun one. So, you know, tying that restaurant together with the crazy roof, with the crazy ceiling details and stuff, and we've got one side, you know, lower than the other, but introducing those classical proportions and trying to find a line that unifies really does help that space, really does kind of frame up pictures and things like that. Still more work to do there, but that's a fun project. Thought you guys might get a kick out of a commercial project this time. Anyway, I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.